We always remember, Cover Killer Nation. We remember the great albums. We remember the shit. There was a shitty album that happened before I was even a reviewer here on YouTube. An album that I never got to touch base with you guys because I was not yet doing this as a somewhat of a second profession. I was not yet reflecting my views for all of you to see. Instead, they were merely my own thoughts for me to myself think. I had no way of really realizing or recognizing if my thoughts were what everybody else felt, or if they were truly unique. However, I quickly learned that whenever it came to this band's previous album, prior to the one we're about to talk about today, that was dead on with everybody else. The album I'm speaking about is, of course, the Unspoken King by Cryptopsy. This was considered to be by many a blatant betrayal by the band, something that they themselves acknowledged as an experiment and said it was dinner time. Well, here they are, back in 2012, back again with a new self-released album, self-titled as well, entitled just Cryptopsy. And it's time to see if the horrible experiment was truly just a one-off or if it was something that was to stay with us for albums to come. I am very, very pleased to tell you that it is the latter of those two. This is an album that truly takes you back to what made you love Cryptopsy in the first place. This is absolutely chaotic. This is annihilation. This is everything that you come to expect with Cryptopsy, especially whenever they had Lord Worm at the helm in their vocals. You even saw that, after he had departed the first time, you definitely saw it whenever he came back for the one-off Once Was Not in 2005. Basically, this album is on par with the work that they had been doing prior to the Unspoken King. It's almost as though what happens in the Cryptopsy discography is that right around 2007, an album was released, but you can easily just jump right over it. Either that or you kind of neglect its existence and you really wouldn't be missing all that much. I remember listening to the clean vocals on this album and just realizing how painful they sounded. I remember hearing the generic side of this music to the point of it borderlining on blatant metalcore or deathcore, and I thought to myself, this isn't the Cryptopsy that I remember. The Cryptopsy that I hear on the self-titled album from here in 2012 is the Cryptopsy that I remember. This is absolute torrential musical terror. This almost borderlines on the grind stylings that we would hear from a band such as Aborted, where you almost want to kind of throw it into that little grind status point instead of saying it's technical death metal. You almost want to just make that a little bit all-inclusive for those two bands, because it really is something that is so close on the borderline range that it's almost uncanny. Certain people are going to have different ideas about genre classification. Believe me, if that is the debate that you're having right now, well then you're missing the great fucking album that is embroiled within. Another thing that happened with this album is that they returned to a shorter style, a more wham bam, thank you ma'am, 8-track, 34-minute long approach, and I really think that that helped to reinvigorate and reconfigure the focus for these guys, because they do not rest, it feels, for this entire 34-minute experience. You are not allowed to breathe. You are not allowed to take a single pause on this release. Are there some hooks in here? Very, very minor. There are some of those catchy little riffs that they're able to write. And that is so vintage of this band that it is uncanny. Now, for one, they've gotten a long-time member back, and of course, Flo's still around. So what the hell? Should we have expected anything less? Well, no, we really shouldn't have. We really should not have. Shame on us for actually doubting Cryptopsy, especially with the news of the re-arrival of a former triumphant member. Shame on us for debating that Cryptopsy had taken a turn to the shit forever and that they would never return to the form that we knew them best prior to the release of the Unspoken King. Shame on us for ever denying this band simply based around one album. Because let me tell you something, folks. If there's one thing that I've said, whether it be through Morbid Angel, whether it be through The Haunted, through the many shitty albums that I have reviewed, and that is that everybody gets one. Some bands opt to take advantage of this fact and kind of right the course. Others are still unproven. Others have opted to go further down the spiral. Cryptopsy, on the other hand, have decided to come back with a fury and vengeance that has been starved for by fans for many, many years. The bitter taste of the Unspoken King has now been removed in the form of a fist to the mouth that now all that you can taste is blood. And it's a welcome taste. It's a beloved taste. It's something that you want to taste. The fury of this album swirls like a whirlwind for 34 landmark minutes that signal the return of one of the great powerhouses of heavy metal. Cryptopsy's teaser trailer could not prepare us enough for that which we were going to experience. It could only do as I stated. It could only tease. It could only give us this small representation of what the album itself was going to represent. The melodies are terrific. The few that you can pick out. Because this is unadulterated mayhem. And let's face it, Cryptopsy fans. Let's face it, Cover Killer Nation. Let's face it, Heavy Metal Universe. If you know this band, if you like this band, if you respect this band, it's exactly what you fucking expect. And that is what we fucking got. 8.75 out of 10. Nothing more needs to be said. Stop feeding your eyes. Start feeding your ears. Get this now.